Welcome to this week's episode of Hot or Hype. Today we're talking AI-driven predictive analytics. I'm Andrew. That's Olivia. Let's start off by what is predictive analytics. I thought I'd just look at a quick definition to make sure we're all on the same page. To me, traditional predictive analytics uses math, statistical techniques, regression analysis, time series, decision trees, just to make predictions. Really simple stuff. AI-driven predictive analytics, machine learning algorithms that might borrow from some of those techniques, but people drop in terms like neural networks, random forests, deep learning that can handle more complex data sets, unstructured data, large data sets, images, speech. These can all come together into a multimodal AI predictive analytics. So how's that different to another one to consider is predictive analytics? And a lot of people work out,
Descriptive, don't you mean?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right. Prescriptive. Thank you. We'll get a prediction of what will happen, but prescriptive kind of tells you what to do based upon what will happen. Do those definitions work for you?
Yeah, I really like to use a really old Gartner definition, I think, that they released a very long time ago, which is describing what the different levels of maturity of analytics are. So on the left-hand side, you have more information-oriented data. And on the right-hand side, you have more action-oriented or optimization-oriented data. And so if I remember correctly, moving from the left to the right, it starts with hindsight, the middle is insight, and then the end quadrants are foresight. So, we start with descriptive analytics, which is describing the data that we have. So, if you're working in some kind of fast food chain, or if you're working on an e-commerce site, it's really getting an understanding of all the entities that sit within that. So that's that data. Then you might want to know what's happened from 1 week to the next. Why are sales down? Or, why is one product performing better than another? And that moves into more descriptive analytics. So that's really the next kind of chunk of looking at data and data maturity. Then we're starting to head into the insight realm, right? So that's really when you hear people talking about analytics and insights, they're starting to talk about diagnostic kind of analytics and predictive analytics. So that's where you use the data from the past to describe and forecast what would be in the future.
I'm glad I tripped over that. So that's great.
I know, we both did. And then obviously you move to the right of that again, and that's where you get prescriptive analytics. And so prescriptive analytics is really that foresight of what actions you should take based on everything else earlier in the chain. So, I think there's an accord on what that definition is. And I really like that because it's very simple to understand and it rings true. But then when you add in that buzzword of AI to it, AI for predictive analytics, I got it right this time, rather than prescriptive analytics, what does that mean? How is that different to traditional predictive analytics? Is it because we're starting to use some of the AI components that are in there, such as understanding language to understand a question and get back something that is predictive or a forecast based on the way that we interact with actually soliciting that information in the first place? Is it interface driven that kind of generates it as that, or is it being part of a broader model, like when you go to catch a peer sharing car app, how does it know how to price me differently to other people?
Sure. I think, so what's hot about the predictive analytics driven by AI? What do you think's hot about it?
Look, I think predictive analytics has been hot for some time, or it's in the plateau of productivity now, again, to use another Gartner term. But, if you look at the old hype cycles around it. But as far as that's concerned, that's been hot for a while. If people can see what they've done in the past to help predict what's going to happen in the future, that's one step towards being able to make data-driven decisions. So adding AI to that, however that is, whether or not that's via an interaction or an automation or a way to derive those forecasts themselves, then, I think that's what's hot about it.
Right. Well, I'm going to go with some more formal terms, I guess. But, what I think is hot right now on AI-driven predictive analytics high accuracy and precision, right? You can scale it and you can get it more accurate as long as you're not overfitting your models or getting lazy and just relying upon them. You need to check in. You need to keep your data up to date.
And you mean from a mathematical point of view, right?
Yeah, totally.
Statistics. Yeah.
Statistics. I'm a math fan. Real-time predictions, near to real time. I prefer the term. Most humans can't deal with real-time predictions. And what can you do in real time? More often than not, you need to see a bit of a trend in data before you can actually do it. But, you could automate those sort of actions and predictions and unstructured data handling. There's no way I can read a document quickly and make a prediction on it. Something that can scan that really fast.
Yeah, I think, time boxing around those predictions for real time, like what is the realm of that time box that you're looking at the past for that forecast? Otherwise, we're talking prescriptive. I think is something that would be interesting as well.
Cool. And what about the hype? What do you think the hype is?
Oh, well, the word AI, right?
Yep.
Attach that to anything, there can be a lot of noise
Totally.
to determine what that actually is. Not saying AI is hype. There's a lot of hot in there, but there is quite a deep dive, which we will do a little bit later on what those definitions are from an AI perspective and how they can be coupled with, more traditional kind of terms of analytics.
Totally. I think the whole AI hype brings in all those considerations: security risks, data privacy, data sourcing, making sure that you have legitimate rights to that data. Yeah, totally.
That's valid.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, so what do you think? Hot or hype? Look, I think from my perspective, use AI-driven predictions when you've got large, complex data sets. You want real or near to real-time data. You've got unstructured data happening, and you're trying to discover unknown hidden patterns. You should stick to traditional methods when the data is small, structured, and need to be clear and reasonable and easily interpreted. Sometimes it's difficult to explain AI.
So what is it? Hot or hype?
I was just going through what I thought, but look, I think it's definitely hot. I think there is a lot of hype out there that you need to cut through, but if you do spend the time, you do get it right, it is 100% hot.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I mean, I agree to an extent. I think there's a lot that can be done with traditional predictive analytics. And I think that has been hot for a while, and it's quite hard just to get to that. Adding AI into the mix, if it helps get there faster, I think that's definitely hot.
Right. There you have it. Both think it's hot. Stay tuned for our deep dive on this topic and next week's Hot or Hype. See you again soon.